Hello, my friends. It's Kirsten, and I'm very glad to be back with you today. I am going to lighten up the mood, get in the Christmas holiday spirit, which I'm already clearly in because I'm wearing my Santa sweater today. So I get to perform in the Nutcracker this weekend and next weekend, and I'm feeling really excited about it. A little nervous since I haven't done like a actual ballet performance in a second, but this has gotten me in the mood to share some stories with you guys. Since I know we've all got a lot on our plates this time of year, especially as dancers, if you're performing in the Nutcracker as well, I imagine it is not really time to be going into watching some more serious instructional type videos. So I'm just going to keep it cheery, keep it light with some stories about the Nutcracker from a very particular time in my ballet life and journey, which was my 2 years in the Houston Ballet Academy. I performed in the Nutcracker both years with the Houston Ballet Company. And I've got some pretty good stories to tell. At least they're good in my opinion. They're quite funny. So gear up for some laughs, some good times. And if you want me to tell some stories from other parts of my ballet journey, whether it be stories from dancing in college, stories from being in a professional company. I got a request for some audition stories. That might be another one. So let me know in the comments what kind of stories you might want me to tell you if you're interested in more story time type videos. But let's get on with it. Before I start telling the stories, I want to quickly mention and give you a little teaser about this group coaching program that I'm about to fully announce, and it will be designed to guide you guys through the company audition season that I know a lot of you are already starting to think about, probably worry about, stress about. I feel you, I've been there, I get it. So I'm developing a program that combines the power of mentoring. Basically, I'll be helping you prepare your materials, know how to network, know how to communicate, to get noticed, and to build relationships that lead to contracts. And then also I'm going to be pairing that with some group coaching calls to help you increase your confidence, know your personal brand as a dancer. Think of audition season like you are marketing yourself. You are selling your services as a dancer. If you don't know what you're selling, no one's going to want to be buying. So this program is going to combine my mindset coaching services so you guys feel confident and ready to go crush auditions and be successful in the end. And I'm going to be combining that with mentoring, which is going to be practical advice on how to prepare your materials. There's going to be an option to have your video edited by my video editor, Sarah. She's wonderful at what she does and so great to work with. So those are not all the full details yet. You will be hearing that from me soon. So if you are going to be going into company audition season this spring, if you are wanting to get a professional contract, go ahead and enter your email into the link down below. That's where you're going to be getting more particular information about the details of this program and how you can enroll in it. You'll get all that sent straight to your inbox if you submit your email in the link below. So go ahead and check that out. All right, thank you for listening. Story time now. Let's go back in the time machine to 2011 through 2013 when I was in the Houston Ballet Nutcracker twice. Now, does this sound cool, glamorous? Maybe, I don't know. But was I performing like actual classical ballet in these shows? No. I was none other than the lead rat in the battle scene at Houston Ballet. It was an experience, and I had the pleasure of doing that role, that starring role, twice, both years. I've got a lot of stories to tell about this because between wearing those horrendous costumes, I'm going to put some pictures on the screen, or I'll have Sarah, thank you Sarah, my video editor, I'll have some pictures put up on the screen of these costumes. They were really like 30-year-old, very musky, disgusting, full bodysuit, almost like coffins that you can dance in. Maybe you might die in them because I nearly suffocated multiple times in this costume. It was treacherous, it was dramatic, it was crazy, but it's kind of like a rite of passage for the dancers in the top levels of the academy. Now, since then, the artistic director of Houston Ballet, Stanton Welsh, has created a new Nutcracker, new choreography, all that stuff. I went to go see it. It was incredible. Um, so now the students at the top levels of Houston Ballet Academy no longer have the privilege of wearing these costumes and dancing as rats. What a shame. They're really missing out. So I just want to tell you guys a little story about when we transferred from doing our just academy rehearsals of the battle scene to the moment where we then go upstairs into the company rehearsals to rehearse the battle scene with, you know, the leads like the Nutcracker himself, Clara, all those important people in the production. So we go upstairs and just imagine I'm in pointe shoes, we're all in pointe shoes, and we're running on like super ginched feet. Like, you know, the kind of ginch when you're doing hops on pointe, you gotta have your ankle back. I'm using that, we're all supposed to literally run on pointe. Run, okay? So I'm running, I'm hustling, I'm moving, oh my gosh. And but it really looks terrible if you're not in the rat costume. So imagine I'm in my uniform navy blue leotard. I was in level 8, the top level at the time. They also restructured the academy. What the lead rat does, and basically it's not like I was really special. I was just the tallest one in my class by like this much. So I was always the lead rat because I was the biggest and the scariest, you know. So I have this whole scene in the beginning of the first rat to come out, and I do this like pas de chat onto pointe, and then I go and I like terrorize Clara, who was always like a soloist or a principal dancer. So I would always get so nervous, you know. All eyes are on me for 1 second. I do my pas de chat onto pointe. I'm again in my uniform leotard. Let me just paint a picture doing this. And guess what? This time when I went into the company rehearsal, Ben Stevenson, the legend himself, came from Dallas to come observe the Houston Ballet Company rehearsals to make sure it was all up to spec, it was up to standard, whatever that phrase is, because he was a choreographer of this production. So he's watching, and I go out and I do my thing. But before I do, he tells everyone, he tells all the level 8 students, almost to just like humble us some more, that we are all supposed to get into character in our faces and like really snarl and whatever, even though in the actual show we're going to be wearing a legit like mask. Faces are not going to be seen, but he told us to do that. So I was like, well, if I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do this. So let's just give it a go. He told us to look ugly. So I just went for it. And at the end of the run, which it felt very awkward, everything stops and he's about to give some notes for the whole battle scene. And the thing he says, normally students, when you go into the company rehearsals, you're like not talked to, you're hardly looked at unless you've done something wrong. You're kind of like invisible, you're kind of a nobody. He stops and he looks at me and points me out and says, right, something like, right, you were very ugly in his British accent, and points out, he said, I loved it. You were so ugly, as if it was a compliment in front of the whole company. It was kind of a defining moment in my career in a way. I thought, well, Ben Stevenson called me ugly and now I have a story to tell forever. Apparently it was a compliment, so whatever, I'll take it. Also, in company rehearsals for the battle scene, there was this new company member. I will not say his name. I'll just say he showed up. He's a very good looking man. And so everyone is like, ooh, who is this guy? Like, ooh, I saw him in the hallway. Ooh, we were in the elevator together, you know. And he was playing the role of the Nutcracker. And there's this one part when his cast was going for the Nutcracker, and I was the lead rat in this cast. And there's this one part where 4 of the rats are supposed to like run across the stage very fast on point doing this with our hands. Somehow, like, he was going this way, I was going this way. and my fingers got stuck in his mouth. It, it was so awkward, and like we just, you know, since I was running past, I was like, oh shoot, I hope he doesn't know like who I am. That's so awkward. We did not talk about it. It just kind of happened. It was very weird, and I like his spit was on my hand. Oh, it was weird. The other weird thing is that maybe I'm not supposed to talk about this. Whatever, come at me, Houston Ballet. Don't, I'm sorry. At the time when I was in the academy, there was this very weird rule that I think ended up being revoked, where students were literally not supposed to talk to company members. Like, we could be in rehearsal together and you were not supposed to quote unquote fraternize. So I was not supposed to talk to him or anybody. And one of the principal dancers, who again, like everybody looked up to, he came over and he like was trying to like very kindly like show me how I should do a traveling pattern differently, and he was so nice about it, and I was like all starstruck, and then also looking around like, oh my gosh, will people think that I was talking to a company member? Oh no, he's talking to me. Am I gonna get in trouble? It was the weirdest thing. And another thing is, speaking of the rat costumes, this is one of my favorites. There's this one part where the lead rat comes out, I go back, whatever, and then there's the role of like this tiny rat, the rat number 2, I think it was called, or she was called. It was always the smallest girl. So she's the one that comes out, she gets shot by a soldier and like keels over, and then what happens? Me and rat number 3 get this, it's like a cot that you like pick up and you put it down, you put the injured person on it, you pick it up and you run off. It's like a bed. I don't remember what it's called. Anyway, so we're supposed to go pick up the dead rat, put her on this bed thing, pick it up and run off. So this was not happening, this didn't happen during a run with my cast, but I saw the whole thing happen. Somehow, it was like the first time that we put the costumes on in the studio, which is always a huge adjustment. It's very entertaining. The rat number 1 and rat number 3 didn't put down the bed thing quite in the right place. And since you have very limited visibility in the rat mask costume deal, one of my friends was running off stage. She was running very fast and she couldn't really see what was below her. So what does she do? She starts running off, and I can see it almost like it all happened in slow motion. She actually stumbled over the bed thing, literally did a flip in the air, smashed against the wall and slid down it. And by the end, like, she was upside down, like all crumpled in her huge rat costume against the wall. Everything stopped. Thank goodness she was okay. But the laughter, it was like uncontrollable. It was so funny. Okay, so Constantine is just gonna be joining us for the rest of this video. There was, you know, that encounter I'm supposed to have with Clara where she's on her little bed and I come and I like terrorize her, and I'm supposed to like get all on her face and do this, and then she's supposed to take her pillow and hit me really hard in the head. Here's what continually happened to me. I was literally a victim of this situation, even though when you're in the academy, in the battle scene, if something goes wrong, it's always going to be the academy dancer's fault. That's just how it goes. So here's what happened. I go and I'm like on stage, it's an actual performance. I go and I terrorize Clara, whatever. She hits me repeatedly with the pillow, and she hit me just right to where my mask almost came off. It was like you could see the back of my head. And I had to like do this and put it back on. And the whole time, I'm like, oh no, I'm gonna get in trouble. I did get in trouble for that, for apparently not securing my mask. I literally could not have done anything differently. She just got me really good. She was doing it with full conviction. There were some Claras that would like be good to pretend that they're really doing it, but then they would spare me. There were others like this Clara who would take the pillow and hit me literally with like all her might, and it would actually hurt. Like I felt like the mask was gonna break. It was really like the harness thing, there's like a headband inside, it was hitting me in the face. And so when she did it, my mask almost fell off. She's like still acting and she's like, I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry. And I'm just so stressed out of my mind. I try to put it back on, it's not quite on correctly. And then in that same run, oh my gosh, I was running and one of my fellow dancers stepped on my tail, and these tails are like attached by a harness around your hips. And so whenever someone would step on your tail, it like lurches you backwards and like hits you in the gut. It's crazy. Okay, those are all the stories I'm going to tell for today. I have many more, especially from my time at Houston Ballet. I have all sorts, so if you want me to tell more stories, please let me know. Send your requests out in the comment section. Goodbye from me and my cats. This is Alice. This is Constantine. My loves and my terrors. They're crazy. So yes, let me know how you enjoyed this, and I look forward to seeing you in my next video. Bye, and happy Nutcracker if you're doing it. Adios.